I did want to touch a bit on Regtech as well, because we've been speaking about
Yep.
compliance,
Yep.
and that's been a very big area and an area that continues to grow, mostly because there isn't really a choice there. You have to comply. So what are your thoughts on Regtech and what's happening there?
Yeah. So, I'd say that there's, just different aspects of this. When you're talking about wealth management, it's been about, having the right tools to support client reforms, and the regulations around knowing your client, knowing your product. And I think the most firms have been quite successful in setting up the right tooling for that, and that those tools and that work has actually improved the value that they deliver to clients, and maybe helped them to grow their business as well. And that probably wasn't what they thought when they saw another regulation coming at them. Like, oh my goodness, I have to prepare for this thing. So I mean, in a way, RegTech is becoming an important part of the business because that compliance actually helps you to build and grow your business in some ways. For the markets, I think, for the sort of sell side, if you will, I think RegTech is, it's something that we're looking at very carefully and investing in right now. I think that there is a lot of regulation and a lot of different regulators that are gathering the same data in different formats. And so there's a huge opportunity for us to deliver a service to our clients to help them gather that data once and deliver it to multiple regulators at the same time. So, and you can especially see that in derivatives, in some of the more complex type of trading activity. All of the different regulators involved in that process makes it challenging to operate as a firm. So simplifying that is a big opportunity, I think. And, some firms have done it really well, some firms not so well. All are investing in making that happen, I think. So something we're looking at very carefully.
That's really fascinating. So really taking this data that's probably in different forms to meet the needs of these different regulators, but essentially the same data, and structuring it so that it could be applied to just whoever needs it.
Yep.
That sounds like a winning solution right there if it can be built.
Sure does, doesn't it?
Yeah. It does.
Yeah, no, I think for clients, they really see the opportunity as well. It's because and it's very obvious that it's the same data going to different players and different formats. So, what better thing can you do than to simplify that? And it also allows you to simplify the gathering of that data and the comfort level for the risk group inside the organization as well. And I think that's an important part of operating these businesses, because we've seen what's happened when some of those regulatory bodies are not conformed with, and we've seen some massive fines, hundreds of millions of dollar fines for certain financial institutions. It hasn't happened so much in Canada. We've seen a few smaller fines, not big ones, but we've seen the very large ones for some of the European banks, for sure.
Yeah. No, that's it's really interesting. And again, I feel like when it comes to compliance and regulations, there's a bit of a negative view because it's always about red tape and restrictions. But it seems like there's a lot of room for innovation as well, and room for growth and to do some really exciting things.
For sure.
Something that I was really fascinated by, I was on a webinar a while ago where they were speaking about CFR, and one of the panelists had mentioned that their firm was working on having AI and ML to help with client-focused reforms, where now that there's KYC and KYP, there's a lot of information for advisors to know and pass on to their clients. So their idea was to use AI to assist advisors in picking out the information that they had to know, that they needed to disclose. Mm-hmm. So you may, for instance, have like a 50-page document and you really need to know 3 pages worth of information from it, and the AI would go in there. It would highlight the information that you actually need to know, gather it all, and bring it to you so that you had the correct disclosures and you're able to provide it to your client. And it's very streamlined, provides a lot of scale. Because now, regardless, when I think about it, the advisor has the ability to actually explore more options because their life has been made easier by this tool that's assisting them in siphoning off the information that they need instead of them having to go and read 50 pages of disclosure for each asset that they might be interested in.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I think IA is going to become more and more important, or AI, sorry, a more and more important part of how firms operate their business. I think it's in operations, it's in tooling for advisors, it's in chatbots for the clients. So it's in multiple different ways that artificial intelligence technologies, machine learning are going to become important parts of how we operate. Yeah, and absolutely see that happening for sure. One layer beyond that as well that we're starting to hear more about is behavioral science. Because AI is really about data science. It's about crunching the data, but behavioral science is really about understanding what your client's saying to you. And so it's taking CFR sort of to the next level, which is to say, is the client actually aware of what they're saying? Are they saying the truth to you? And are you able to actually think about how you add a series of additional questions to drag out the right answer from them? So it's an interesting next level that some of the firms are starting to think about more carefully.
Yeah, I've been seeing personality assessments a lot more, and I think that's related to it. So, knowing which of your clients are, just naturally more attuned to aggressiveness versus, being more conservative or balanced, and then being able to derive insights for those particular clients. So if the markets are very rocky and a lot of volatility occurring, then your conservative clients are the ones that will tend to be a bit more nervous, and so perhaps those are the ones that you reach out to. So having a program or an application that brings that information to you, surfaces for you, so that you can easily make the interactions that you need to comfort those clients would be very helpful, and again, help strengthen those relationships.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that again, that's part of what, and I think you're right. I think some of these tools are the things that allow you to get the real insights into your client's way of operating, and help make the right decisions on their behalf. Now, ultimately, it's a client's decision, but helping them by asking them more questions, get to a real understanding of their underlying values when it comes to financial risk. That's a critical part of the advisor's job. So.